Afternoon, good evening, our lovely Equine family. Welcome to Town Hall number 48. I'm joined by my lovely co host, Mark.
Hi everyone.
We're missing Felsmaker today, he's not feeling well, unfortunately. So hopefully you'll join us in the next Town Hall. But we have quite a few exciting updates to share. Oh, we can copy the stream link from here. That makes it easier. There's a button on Streamlabs where I can just do this. It took me a while to
All
figure
right.
this out.
Nice.
It just beat me to it. Stream link. All right. That's good. Hi, Javier or Javier.
Hi.
So we'll give people just a couple of minutes to join. All right. So we'll give 2 more minutes for people to join. Mark, how's the weather been in Tokyo? Is
It's
it?
been really good today. Today was like 26 degrees, super sunny. Tomorrow will get a little bit cooler, but definitely an improvement over the last 2 weeks. It's been actually quite cold. So all the cherry blossoms are like over a week, almost 2 weeks delayed. There's like barely any. We actually we booked a river cruise today along the river that has a lot of cherry blossoms, and that was kind of a failure because there's like maybe 10% of them out. Um, so yeah, a lot of people came for cherry blossoms specifically. They completely missed it.
I see.
So
We were planning to come during this upcoming period, so it would have been perfect if I would have been able. Unfortunately, I had to cancel. Um, let's see. Hi, Tomo. Hi, Boscat Rover. By the way, Boscat, thank you for the support. I see you've been very vocal on socials. We appreciate that.
yeah, awesome to see that. Thanks.
All right. So we'll start going through our updates in just a minute. Yeah, it's colder over here as well, which is a bit surprising. I guess climate change goes both ways. Even though we're at the end of March, we still have some very cold nights. Not very typical for March over here. All right. People are in. I think we can start with the content. So without further ado, let us start. This is Town Hall number 48. Glad to have you guys around. We'll go through our usual agenda, going over visuals and environment, development, marketing, and our AMA questions. We have quite a few very interesting and cool questions, actually. First of all, on the visuals and environment side, the animation pipeline issue that I explained in the past is finally resolved. We finally figured out the full pipeline. The few bugs that we kept facing with animations are actually completely resolved. We found a few options or settings that we can change that just skip this whole problem without really compromising much. So we can now transfer the models between Blender, our animated models, or Maya, wherever we make them, into Unity, and then finally into Babylon JS, where they export correctly. We had very annoying issues that were very hard to troubleshoot, but finally we're already past that, and we have everything working. And the good news after this is the updated Thoroughbred with Cornelius riding it that we were testing on using Gallop animation has already been implemented in the race viewer. I'll show you guys a clip in a little bit, which shows a lot of thoroughbred horses that are all exactly the same color with standard color Cornelius riding, but it's more of a proof of concept that this is all now working correctly. We'll be updating that as needed to support the right things. Now, we still need to desynchronize the horses. We know how to do this. We've already set up some variables to support that, but we just need a bit of implementation there. We need to support various jockeys. So the jockeys, we've already done all the animations for them. Just a matter of organizing files and animation controllers that I've been doing actually over the past couple of days. So we'll just finish supporting the 10 basic jockeys and how to load them in. Silks and saddle cloth numbers, we want to support that, hopefully fairly soon, probably by the like while we're going through the beta. And there's a shadow lighting issue that you'll see in the video as well, which kind of makes all the horses look a bit darker than they should be. It's hard to appreciate how beautiful they look. Just as a thing to remind people about, which I've mentioned in the past, is horse skins and jockey skins, including the deluxe skins. Support for them in races will be postponed until the core functionality is there. And we're not dropping the support on them. We want to support them as soon as possible. It's just a bunch of work actually to make sure that everything works system-wise. But I think all the steps we've taken so far will make it hopefully a little bit easier. All right, so without further ado, we just look at this brief video. You can see it's synchronized. So let me just make sure my audio is working. Fox said it's 2 p.m. UTC, 2:08. So yeah, this is the first time this was shared with us, I think 4 days ago. And unfortunately, it's dark with this issue, which we'll fix, but it's the first time we actually get to see horses with a jockey riding them. It's ruined a little bit by the synchronized running, but once we get that fixed and we get a bit of variability, it's going to look very beautiful. Now, also to test, these are Babylon, basically real-time screenshots. Quality is maybe not so great showing them over here, but this is using the Babylon system. So I think there's not been that much downgrade in terms of visuals, as long as we can support everything. In the running environment, we might have to downgrade a little bit more just to make sure everything is quick enough to load, but we'll figure out that sweet spot of balance as we go forward. But yeah, this is with the full pipeline. This is an outcome of the pipeline showing that it works. All right. So I'll cover the development part as well, since FenceMaker couldn't make it today. So I think from the last update, we've shared with you guys that we've managed to run a full racing sequence. And now that the testing of race scheduling and the full cycle of races has been done, we've been focusing mainly on importing all of the blockchain transactions in the front end. So in a more simplified way, entering horses, scratching horses, claiming horses, these functions, we've been converting them from being done via code into being done using buttons with a nice user experience. So horse entry has already been implemented and it's working. Horse scratching has also been implemented and tested working. Claiming horses is in progress. Unfortunately, our developer, our main in-house developer, has had a lot of weather issues, which caused intermittent power issues. And we shared, actually, just for transparency, we shared the last town hall that we had Bruno joining, but unfortunately, very short notice, but he's also leaving before he actually started working. So we'll be hiring another one as soon as we get access to a suitable developer. That's one thing. Now on the deployment side, so Nick, FenceMaker, and Kayo have both been doing all of these developments in their own developer build, which is not very, let's say, available to non-developers, which is not publicly facing or available. But we've recently started deploying all these updates to our staging version. Not complete yet. It's, according to FenceMaker, about 2 hours of work away from being deployed. So once that is done, that will allow us also to get people to give us their testnet wallets addresses. We can mint them or send them some horses. They can start testing with us. So all that's keeping us away is implementing claim horses so that people can claim back their horses after races, and to deploy this to staging. Once that is done, which I'm fairly certain will be done by the next town hall or in 2 weeks' time at most, hopefully sooner, we'll be able to have people join us in a little bit wider testing, and then lead on to even wider testing of the community. All right, that's a more basic update. On marketing side, maybe I'll cover this part first, just as I've been working with Rachel on these parts. So the race system guide is shaping up very well. We hired a professional actually to do this, but it's not a one-time investment. It's actually for longer term. As we have a document format, we can just keep using this for future documents. So we found that it's really worth it for having this kind of formatting. And we've done a bunch of renders for the same guide. So You might have seen, I'll actually scroll all the way back. You might have seen this render in the cover for the town hall. So this is one of a bunch of renders, and we'll also do some more as we need them for marketing. Mark, if you can cover the rest, please.
Yeah, sure. So, I mean, the calendar has been published like every month. You will notice we obviously will have the invitational as we have every month. We didn't share the details yet because we are discussing a format that we want to run it. We've done quite a few now with a very similar one, so we are thinking about like changing it a little bit and thinking what would be the fun way to do. So the details will be released sooner rather than later, but not yet this second. Then, I mean, today, and you can jump to the next slide. Obviously, today is the Easter Sunday. So just, happy Easter. Queen is still with us, celebrating. Actually, didn't celebrate much myself. I guess being in Japan, it's not very Eastery here, but yeah, that's the general update. I think we'll have quite a few things, or actually, as we move to MAA, and I think Fahad, you can jump into that because it was actually really one series of questions, but we split it a little bit because we thought it's worth to address and discuss a little bit about about the game launch, about how we want to approach it. In this specific case, the question is like, what are the marketing plans for the Q2? And there are further points of that. So maybe if you can jump to the next slide, we can talk a little bit about how we see it right now. And this is obviously not the absolutely final, but we do want to start with a little bit of the soft launch approach, which means that, testnet. We want to make sure that, first of all, we work with everyone of you who will participate eventually, of course, if you want to, but I assume most people who join those calls will be quite interested. Then we will do all the adjustments and fixes and work together, towards the user experience to prepare something that will be ready for the actual public launch, where we can have a better positioning and better kind of approach to how to advertise it. Obviously, we will focus a lot on community support and testing. We'll publish the race system guide. We will invite the community to test and do their regular feedback sessions. We want you to help us make it good before we go really, really bigger, right? And then we want to use this consumer journey that we talk about to engage with new audiences, to create content that will help us bring people in an easy way. We'll obviously run giveaways, collaborations, stuff like that, including influencers. This part of this question, and I think it's actually at the end, so I'll maybe address it later. But if you can jump to the next slide. The part of this question is about, what efforts are we making to go, between not just in Web3 but also Web2, to bring people in. So first of all, we are, discussing and building the ideas towards making this game more than just a Cardano game, right? That was always the case. We know horse racing is much bigger. We are discussing few different interesting opportunities. We are in talk of very recent, so I don't want to name names yet, but there are some initiatives being made to get people onboarded on Cardano in much easier way. So without understanding everything about wallets, how to get them in, how to get allow them to have the ADA and get involved. So that would be one of those things we really want to make it seamless, right? Like the perfect world is where person wants to play, they pretty much can sign up with stuff like just email, right? And then of course we'll need to find the ways to bridge the money and bridge ADA and all that stuff. But as I said, we are talking to one of the partners who potential partners who could help us do that. Obviously, and we've been repeating that for a while now. Once we have that working, like solidly working beta, we're gonna ramp up the advertising. We'll start talking to more of a Web2 kind of potential partners, try to see if we can find someone who will be interested in either sponsoring the races or maybe collaborate with one of the racing events, which is something that's quite common in this horse race industry for Web3 games. I know it sounds very, very weird, but yeah, there's quite a few of those games out there, right? And many of them do work with specific races. So that will definitely be a big part of it. And then the last part, if you can switch to the next slide, which is are we open to bring influencers as advisors of the projects? On the projects, I would say two things here, or a few things here. First of all, we are definitely interested in working with influencers, but we would like it to be kind of not pay to release video kind of influencing, right? Or shilling, but rather have someone who is interested in the topic, either in horse racing or in Cardano, right? We do have our connections on Cardano, and start working together to promote, to show the game, the moment when we can show it, and get involved. In terms of bringing people as advisors, that will definitely be something that will be open to do. So, and that's maybe a question to those who are here and those who are asking those questions. Like, if you have anyone in mind who you think would be a good fit, please drop us a note. We'll definitely engage, right? So we are, as I said, we are more than happy to collaborate. We used to do it quite a bit, or discuss quite a bit in the past, but obviously we kind of put it a bit on the back burner as we were pushing towards getting the beta going. But I think at this point we are back to start talking to people, and and with the crypto also heating up, obviously there's more and more opportunities that will be popping up. I don't know if you want to add anything.
Yeah, thank you for picking this one up, Marek. I think on the influencer part, I think the key for us has always been organic content. So as long as it's fairly organic, somebody who's actually genuinely interested in the genre, who actually cares about what they're talking about, etc., not someone who just gets money to publicize and promote, then it would be interesting for us. I think on the growth side, and especially the timing, and we've been telling you guys from the start actually, and we still actually stick to the same thing because nothing has changed. That aspect is we want to focus our marketing at the right time. I mean, you guys can imagine that bang for buck is not really so great when the project is not out or accessible to people. You don't want to attract people or get them excited when the game is not even available. There is no point to doing that. But what we've been doing is, despite a lot of optimization and costs, a lot of optimization on resources, we have not really reduced our marketing team activity and effort. That is with the intention of preparing, getting ourselves ready, and putting together the plans for once we're releasing. So I hope this answers the question. But also, we don't want to bring people in with a buggy, let's say, private beta or closed beta testing. We'd rather bring people in when things are, let's say, much more smooth. But it's coming in inevitably. All right, let's see what we have next. Okay, it's also a series of actually very nice questions that came today from DVNC. I read them from Discord. I actually have the full format there. So, which countries' race terminology and metrics, etc., will be used in the game? For example, meters versus furlongs, first, second, third versus win, place, show, etc. So, obviously, it's a regional setting. People have different preferences depending on where they come from. Initially, what we're doing actually is we're using our own sets. So using furlongs, using first, second, third, but at the same time, ultimately, what I imagine to be the quality of life option is to allow users to pick these user interface options are fairly easy to switch. We already also built in support for multi-language. So within that same thing, we can also set a user setting that can switch which unit people prefer. And the conversion is fairly easy between all of them. So we'd like to support the options so that the race lovers can choose their preferred format. They're fairly easy to adapt. Now, the next question is actually very positive. I actually enjoyed reading this. The game beta testing at least must be close. Yes, correct. Since testnet was planned for Q1 and we're now at the end of that, which is absolutely correct. We're literally at the end of Q1 and we are not at the end of testnet, but close to. So we're almost done with that and we'll still be in testnet technically for the next period while we're doing the closed beta, because we want to do our closed beta on testnet and then we're going to do our mainnet for the open beta. Now, the question or the point is, rather than be critical of delays, I'd rather ask if there's anything the community can do to help. And offered, he's been nice enough to offer, or they've been nice enough to offer, writing, reviewing documentation, researching, gathering, compiling stats, etc. And it's an open offer to help, and we really appreciate that. We have a team that's actually been actively working through even a lot of these activities, but fair enough. I think if we can put together, I think the main support we need, one is obviously getting the word out. We know that time is not perfect, but at least keeping Equine present in people's minds. That's a community support that we can get. Number two is active participation in discussions whenever we have those. Number three is testing. So we'll be actually including you guys in testing. We'll put together a method for rolling out this closed testing first. So we'll be doing it in degrees. We might be starting with some of our invitational participants and broaden it gradually as things get more and more stable. And then we're going to close it and just do those phases. So we'll roll out that plan for testing as soon as we're ready for this more public testing. We start with the very initial bare bones, let's say, testing with the closed team internally, and then we'll switch over to that. So that's the main thing I think we can ask for help with. And if we have more, we'll ask for. We're very proud of the relationship we have with our community. So sorry, that was a question. I didn't switch there. There's one more, and it's about technical requirements and the blockchain implementation. So I would just correct this and say SIP86 is the one that we have. And it was a requirement, and we have implemented it. So we've SIP86 and its support in our Oracle, in our indexer. When we publish a race, that goes to our race scheduling and it's indexed, but then that doesn't use SIP86. That's for the smart contract more. But rather, when we get the horses, for example, entered into a race, after they finish the race, they're updated. So that update happens from our Oracle. So when it finishes the race, it's going to update that. So that's SIP86. And technical challenges or hurdles? No, I think we're okay. I'll not rush or say things a bit too early, but without going to wider scale beta testing or even testnet testing, I won't say we have any hurdles or challenges. We have a few kinks that we're trying to sort out. The main kink we have right now is something regarding UTXOs and cleaning them up, basically having a cleanup happen in the smart contract. But it hasn't really been a big hurdle, and we've already optimized around it. But we still need a little bit of work there. But even our blockchain developers are taking it a little bit easy because they don't really have that much to do at this stage, unless we have some more things to fix with the breeding and testing breeding. So it's just a matter of fine-tuning, implementing, and testing, which we're already going through. We're actually in the implementing side and testing. And you're absolutely right. There's a point about delays and the game not being super time sensitive, as in we have buffers around race start, etc. But we've also built some safety nets around it, so that if a race doesn't happen because of blockchain delays, it can get cancelled and people are basically sent back their assets, etc. In terms of light bulb moments, etc., and cool things we figured out, we've shared in the past town halls, but it's maybe worth a good proper discussion with FenceMaker. Along, I probably can't do it justice. But I think the whole SIP86 and development of SIP86, if you're interested, I would read up on the proposal the Forcip 86, because that was our biggest light bulb moment. In addition to making instanced races supported. So I think that's the other, I think, interesting addition. All right. Before we close, I'll just check. Okay, so Utero has a point saying he heard Cardano's hard to develop on. I think, looking back, I would say definitely with regards to working with Haskell, but we anyway ended up working with third-party developers, specifically MLabs, to help us with that, and they've been great in that regard. But it did take a lot of time, I would say that. Not specifically due to, but probably due to, in general, also this kind of development taking time. But yeah, I hope we'll see the benefits in terms of efficiency and all that in the longer term. I think there's no more last-minute questions. So if there's no others, you're more than welcome to post any questions as usual through our community channels. We're always happy to answer these questions. Thank you so much for tuning in and for keeping up with us. Thank you, Boss Katrova, for the words of support. They're always appreciated. And we hope to show you even more exciting updates as we come. There's one more last question from Javier, maybe last minute at least. Do you think a token could be implemented before the public races start, or will those for sure be in ADA? No, it is definitely on the tables. We didn't want to release a token before we have more clarity on beta testing. We imagine people would also be more confident with the token if we have beta testing up. We're also just putting, let's say, dotting the I's and crossing the T's. We know that's taken a little bit of time, but we're dividing our attention basically between focusing on development and project management and doing the token discussion. But yeah, I think it's still on the tables, possibly before the mainnet is up or maybe soon after. Thank you so much for the support, everyone. Thank you, Foxers Tables, also for the kind words of support and for sticking around with us. And I'm sorry you lost your bet about the year end, but I hope we can make it up with a quality product that you enjoy. Thank you, Tomo. Appreciate you guys. See you around always. And I wish you an enjoyable Easter if you celebrate that. And we'll see you guys in the next town hall. This is Fahad signing out.